We were a full, loving family. We gathered often, all of us believers. That was such a blessing to me to know that all of my children received Christ into their heart. But for the most part, if you compared us to other families, we were a happy and functional family. Max was a spirited and adventurous child. He didn't seem to have any fear. He just was so curious about the world around him that he would just try whatever came to mind. He wanted to make sure everyone around him was as happy as he was. And so he would go out of his way to include anyone who was nearby as his friend. They were all his friend. As his high school years went on, he started to introduce us to friends who definitely didn't line up with our family values. He had already moved out of the home and was living with some friends. We would just have a chat at lunchtime. That was our everyday, just checking in with each other and saying hi. He'd say, "Hi, Mom, how are you doing?" That day, he did not call me at lunch. I thought that was strange, but thought, well, maybe he just got preoccupied with other things. It wasn't until afternoon when I started seeing Facebook posts that were connected to Max's Facebook page that said just these ominous messages. And I looked all over the internet thinking, well, maybe there's been a wreck or something, the normal things that moms go through in their head. And I did see a news story that talked about 3 young people who had broken into a house and been killed. But it was so far away from our house that I quickly dismissed it and said, no, that Max wouldn't be way over in that area.
Local investigators say 3 masked men soon discovered they broke into the wrong home.
The suspects probably thought the house was empty, but it wasn't.
Police say when 3 teens broke in, he shot and killed them.
At least 2 of those teens went to Owasso High School. They were aged 19, 17, and just 16 years old. Now, the boys were all shot and killed. Elizabeth Marie Rodriguez turned herself in. They say she drove the boys, who were dressed in black, wearing masks, to the house. The 21-year-old was arrested. Rodriguez is a mother of 3. She's being held without bond.
I realized that there was a good possibility that he was connected to the story that I had seen on the news. So I got in the car, and the thought struck me that I didn't think that my son was alive. And I did what any mom would do, and I started begging. And I said, I just cried out to God as I was driving towards the house, and I said, God, please let my son be okay. Please help him if he's struggling right now, or if he needs to be saved, save him right now. And when I got there and I saw that the house was all shut and the lights were off and there was no one home, there was a sinking feeling in my heart. It literally felt like someone had cut me in my middle, and there was this huge gaping hole. I was doubled over in pain. I quickly called my husband, who was just getting off of work, and I said, stay there. I think that Max may have been killed, and I'm on my way. Found him in the parking lot and got out, and we just hugged. There were no words. There's this incredible emptiness and sadness that happens. You're not really feeling anything. You're not sure what you're supposed to feel. Sometimes I would cry, and sometimes I wouldn't, and sometimes I wouldn't even notice that I was crying. There was a lot of talking to God. I knew to turn to God first when I was hurting. As we continued to process it and lean into that grief, we had many moments where we were able to start replacing bad memories with good memories we had of Max. I prayed for that, and I asked for peace and healing, and God answered those prayers. Elizabeth was Max's new girlfriend. She went with them that morning and really pressured the boys into breaking into this house in Broken Arrow. Her hope was that they would steal enough things that she would get the amount of money she was looking for some things she needed to accomplish with that money. I do remember feeling angry that she chose so poorly. I didn't think for a second that she intended or expected those boys to die. But I also watched other family members and friends react, and some of it just downright hateful. It was an easy thing to put the blame on her. What an easy target. I chose to forgive her. I didn't want to sit in bitterness and anger. I wanted to do what Jesus would do in that circumstance. Didn't he forgive the very people who were wanting to drive the nails through his hands? Didn't he want to forgive the people that beat him so badly with the whip that it tore his flesh off and the insides were showing? And here I am. Shouldn't I be able to forgive someone too? So I wrote her a letter and just told her that I wanted her to know that Jesus loves her and that her being alive is a gift. I didn't expect to get an answer back, but I did. And at first, her letters were riddled with guilt. About the third letter, her tone started to change. We kept exchanging letters back and forth, and her language changed to this hopeful language. And I could tell that God was really working on her heart, that she was not the same person. So I went and paid her a visit, and she and I both just shared kind words towards each other and a little bit of tears. I'd like to go see her again. I want to know that she is still seeking after God, and if she's not, I want to encourage her that God has never left her side and that God is right there, ready to be there and help her and carry her, and that her life is still important and valuable no matter where she's sitting. She can still be used by God to glorify Him. We started looking outside of ourselves. How can we show the love of God to someone else that day? And that brings us immeasurable joy. God is my Father, and I don't have to want for anything. God is caring for me every single day, so I don't have to focus on that anymore. I can turn my focus towards those around me who still need to know that and still need help. Don't be afraid to forgive. Try an act of kindness towards someone, even if you don't feel like it. Just reach out to someone else and do something for them. You'd be surprised how good that feels. But above all else, reach out and lean on God. He's there, and He's going to help you through that. You can have healing. This is my son. He's a pretty handsome boy. I got the best gift that I could ever get as a mom, as a Christian mom. The night before he died, he had come over for a visit. I was walking him to his car, and he said, "Mom, I've been doing some things that I'm ashamed of. I'm really messed up. I've been making some really bad choices, and I know God's not pleased with me right now, but I want to start making some changes because I want to live a life that God could be pleased with." I can't ask for anything more than that. Mission accomplished.